Now we're going to read the passport. This is pages 118 to 125. Before we read, you need to go on page 118 right here and define the word invoked. Invoked. And go to page 122 and identify the word veritable. Veritable. And on page 123, asylum. Asylum. July 1982. We were at my aunt's place. Internal war had become a bigger issue than the war against Iraq. Anyone showing the slightest resistance to the regime was persecuted. There must be a lot of people in the opposition in our neighborhood. We hear gunshots every day. Tahir, stop smoking. The stress I get from every gunshot I hear is much worse for me than the cigarettes. Since he had sent his oldest son to Holland, Uncle Tahir had 2 heart attacks. He was absolutely forbidden to smoke. The butcher told me he's seen kids executed in the street without even having been judged. The shame of it. When I think about it, I'm glad that my son is safely abroad. But with the borders closed, how am I ever going to see him again? The borders were closed for 3 years, between 1980 and 1983. How many times did I say to my wife, come on, let's join him? She didn't want to. She invoked her country, her family, etc., etc. Anyway, I'm already 59. Those poor 20-year-olds who get slaughtered, they kill me, they kill me. My Uncle Tahir was so sad that it hurt to look at him. No one dared say a word. Some days later, what are you thinking? About Tahir. His son leaving has done him in. I've never seen him like that. Can you imagine a 13, 14-year-old child alone in a country where he doesn't even speak the language? Tish, at 14, you don't need your parents anymore. Get real. Up to a certain age, you need your parents, and then later, they need you. You'd be better off without nail polish. You could get arrested. I'll put my hands in my pockets. Pretty stubborn girl, Where do you suppose she gets that? Sometimes it scares me how blunt she is. It'll help her later on. You'll see. I'm so lucky to be married to a man like you. You're so sensitive, the kindest man on earth. How can you be insensitive to the woman you love? Ring, ring. It always rings at the wrong time. Good Lord, again? What? All right, before we go on to the next page, there are 2 wars going on in Iran right now. At the top of page 119, at the top of this page, explain what the 2 wars are and which is worse for the population and why. The answer to that one is actually on 118. Then at the bottom of 119, based on direct and indirect characterization, describe Marjane and how she is at this point in time. Describe her. All right, let's find out what that phone call was all about. Uncle Tahir had just suffered his 3rd heart attack. We were off to the hospital. Red Crescent trucks were pulled up in front of the hospital, calling for people to give blood for the war wounded. There were so many of them. Give blood, give blood, give blood. I felt both angry and embarrassed. Once inside the hospital, I felt even worse. I'm looking for Talahichi's room. Talahichi, that's 342, 3rd floor at the end of the hall to the right. Look, there's not even enough room for all the people. They're just in the hallways and stuff. This guy's got no legs. He's missing a leg. They finally get down to the room where he is being held, or where it's hospital room. And they go in. She says, shh. They threw a grenade. They wanted to arrest some communists who were hiding near our place, and they threw a grenade. Tahir couldn't deal with it. When I came into the living room, he was lying on the floor. He needs open heart surgery. They're not equipped here. They told me that he has to be sent to England. To do that, he needs a permit. They gave me the name of the hospital director, he agrees, Tahir will get a passport so he can go. Since the borders were closed, only very sick people, if they got the permit from the health ministry, were allowed to leave. It's on the 4th floor, number 406. Only my aunt was allowed in. She had a big surprise. The director was her former window washer. She acted as if she didn't recognize him to avoid offending him. So guys, this just goes to show you that anybody who is loyal to the regime can get whatever position they want, because this guy is just a window washer. He is not supposed to be in charge of an entire hospital, but he is. So she's pretending she doesn't recognize him because she wants to save face here. My husband had his 3rd heart attack and he needs medical care outside of the country. We'll do our best. If God wills it, he will get better. Everything depends on God. I need your authorization so that he can get a passport, if God wills it. All that creepy window washer had to do to become the director of the hospital was to grow a beard and put on a suit. The fate of my husband depends on a window washer. Now he's so religious that he won't even look a woman in the eye. The pathetic fool. Oh boy, things are not looking good. After the director, we went to see the chief of staff, Dr. Fathi. Ma'am, we'll do what we can. We are terribly strapped at the moment. Look, in this room, they're all victims of chemical weapons. Germans sell chemical weapons to Iran and Iraq. The wounded are then sent to Germany to be treated. Veritable human guinea pigs. This is really sick. Kind of sad, right? So Germany sells them biochemical weapons that they use on one another, and then they have to go to Germany to be treated so Germany can see how well their biochemical weapons worked. Why are you telling me this? I couldn't care less. I want my husband to get well. Calm down. Calm down, dear. Everything will be all right. Don't worry. And then there goes Marjane and her dad, and he says, we'll be right back. So let's get back to page 121. You had to do a couple of things on this page. On page 121, right here, at the top, how has the new religious Islamic regime lost touch with humanity and the purpose of religion? Explain that. Think about Tahir's situation. Think about the people who are in charge of him. Then label the picture or caption it, which best explains lost touch. How they have lost touch with humanity. Label the panel that best explains that. All right, let's see where they're going. We went to see an acquaintance of my father's, Khosrow. His brother and my uncle Anush were in prison together during the reign of the Shah. Bibi, brother of Anush? Come in, come in. Since they shut down my publishing company, I've been printing fake passports. Big sellers. You want one? Not me, my brother-in-law. When they let him out, my brother started going to every counter-revolutionary demonstration. He told me that the chief of the new executioners was his torturer in the Shah's prison. He saw it with his own eyes. He said, Khosrow, I can't take it anymore. I made him a fake passport, and he sought political asylum in Sweden. Look, Bibi, a whole month's work just for the stamp. Well, how much will it take to make a passport? How much time will it take to make a passport? A week. Ah! They're scared because someone's coming out of the closet there. You can come in, they're friends, or maybe it's just coming in the door. This is Nilafar. Her brother was my messenger boy. They're looking all over for her because she is a communist. I let her stay in my basement. She's 18, same age as my daughter Amanda. Khosrow's daughter had left with her mother right after the revolution. They've been searching the houses of everyone in her family. This is the only place that she is safe. After negotiating a price, the equivalent of about $200, Khosrow agreed to make a passport in 5 days. We went back to the hospital feeling a little better. So I saw Khosrow. He can make a passport for Tahir by Wednesday. So he's come too. He wants to see you. See, It's not the cigarettes that did it. It was the damn grenade. Don't upset yourself. Talk about something else. Look at how little Mars is growing up. One day she'll leave you, and you'll see how hard it is to lose your kid. I have only one wish, and that's to see my son again, one last time. On this page, you're supposed to label the irony and explain why it is ironic at the top of the page. 2 days later, Nilafar, 18-year-old communist, was spotted, arrested, and executed. Bashara found his house ransacked. He fled across the mountains to Turkey. He sought asylum with his brother in Sweden. He never got to make the passport. 3 weeks after these events, Uncle Tahir was buried. His real passport arrived the same day. He never got to see his son. Explain the mood and the tone at the bottom of page 125. Highlight words and phrases on page 124 and 125 that contribute to the mood. Remember, mood is how you feel. Tone is the author's attitude or the attitude in the story.